with the most notable game of the inaugural SEC ACC Challenge. It was Tuesday night, Miami at Kentucky. It was supposed to be competitive, and it was, but only for a half. Final score, Kentucky 95, Miami 73. John Calipari's Wildcats outscored the Hurricanes 53-36 in the final 20 minutes to improve to 6-1 on the season. Lone loss coming to Kansas. I moved UK up to number 8 in Wednesday morning's updated CBS Sports Top 25 and 1 daily college basketball rankings. Deadleg, I know you were bouncing around Fayetteville last night, calling hogs and who knows what else.
No.
I know what you were doing last night. What'd you make, though, of Kentucky's destruction of Miami inside Rupp that came with DJ Wagner only playing 10 minutes because of an ankle injury he suffered?
Yeah, I noticed that as well. Right off the top, hello from Arkansas. I don't have my typical board here, so you're going to notice a slight difference in audio quality. Wanted to at least acknowledge that right off the top there. Thanks for everyone.
People don't know this. The state of Arkansas will not allow you to bring podcasting equipment.
I looked it up, and it's forbidden inside.
Can't cross the borders with it.
Can't cross the borders with it. So
it's a little bit like gummies. You know, in some states you're cool, but in other states you're not.
Fair enough. There we go. Right off the rails, right away. Chat is eager to go, particularly after a Kentucky win. We'll dive right in here. The chat poll question, by the way, is: do you now think Kentucky will win the SEC? We'll get to those results a little bit later on the show. I did watch the majority of this game. Was out at dinner for the first half and saw it, and I was glad to see that it was competitive to start. And damn, GP. Number of ways we can go with this. So real quick on the Wagner stuff. Yeah, he has the injury. He got on the bike soon thereafter. Hopefully he's good. The fact that it didn't even matter is obviously notable for Kentucky. We wait to see his status moving forward, and hopefully that's not something that lingers there. Reed Sheppard is again the story here. He helped Kentucky to 1.32 points per possession, which is obviously a scorcher there. Nigel Pack and Matthew Cleveland could not combined come close to matching Reed Sheppard's output. I mean, Pack only had 2 points. Cleveland had 5. It was kind of a throwback win for Kentucky in the sense that I remember plenty of games like this in the first half of John Calipari's tenure where they would play a notable opponent and find a way to wear that opponent down over the course of a game. And then you would look up and see, well, damn, this thing is completely over. You've still got, 6 and change left to go in this bad boy. That's what happened last night. Sheppard was the biggest key. He is number one. He is not, as we speak this Wednesday morning, Gary Parrish, he is number one nationally in effective field goal percentage.
I'm number one nationally in effective field goal percentage.
You are nowhere close. Reed Sheppard, however, is an absolutely ludicrous 85.9% in effective field goal percentage. For those who might not be familiar with the stat, although it's not new, that weights your 3-point attempts into it as opposed to traditional field goal percentage, which can be sometimes slightly misleading. Sheppard's number 2 nationally in 3-point percentage, shooting 63.3%. Oh, by the way, he's top 5 in steal percentage. This is all per KenPom's page, of course, 6.9%. That equates to 3.1 swipes per game. So it is becoming a very real thing. The Reed Sheppard mania. We've talked about him obviously on the pod before. He's not the only reason why. I thought Antonio Reeves had himself quite a good game. I thought Trey Mitchell had himself quite a good game. Those two players combined for 32 points. In addition to Justin Edwards also showing some flashes. And though he didn't have a great shooting night, Rob Dillingham still came off the bench to be impactful. So it's a bit of a coda here from a recent episode. Kentucky's not just good. Kentucky is damn fun to watch. And I will give a shout here to an interesting stat that I saw on Twitter late on Tuesday night. Credit to Corey Price, who does statistics work for Kentucky. It's the first time since 89 that Kentucky has gone with 95-plus points in 4 straight games. Kentucky's not just good. They're fun. They are a wagon, and there are many reasons why. But the biggest one clearly at this point is Reed Sheppard, who has turned himself into a real NBA prospect with a quickness. And by that, I mean literally a potential one and done. I don't know if it's going to be that at the end of the season, but that conversation has now been kickstarted in a major way.
You mentioned KenPom. Do you see that Ken Pomeroy character? He's popping off on Twitter last night.
Oh, he got a little
cocky last night, that KenPom.
I saw it. If you're going to mention it, do you have the tweet? I'll bring it up if you don't. We might as well read it verbatim if we're going to do this. Here's what he said.
I think you should misquote him.
No, I'm not. I wouldn't dare.
I think you should misquote him.
Okay, so real quick on my end, then it's all you, GP. Miami, all of last season was just it was ranked lower at KenPom than its performance, and if you watched them, it would indicate, right? But Pomeroy's algorithm doesn't care about any of that. And regardless, Miami wound up making a run to the Final Four. And then heading into this season, Miami was one of the more notable lower-ranked teams heading in compared to it being, a team that was preseason top 25 coming off the Final Four. Miami at the start of the season was 45th at KenPom. So in the midst of this huge Kentucky run, Kentucky at one point went on a 45-18 run to bury Miami. Pomeroy wanted to try and bury the media. He said one of the perks of being a proper noun here, media darling, is like Miami, is that if you get run off the floor by a quality team, the media will give all the credit to the opponent instead of reevaluating its opinion of you. I believe Ken would agree with me that a one-game sample on a 5-1 start wouldn't necessarily validate Miami standing as a sub-40 team on his ranking, but perhaps he will be proven to be right. I'm still in on Miami being one of the 40 best teams in the country. I don't know about you.
KenPom was doing you down. He was doing you down.
He did. You know what? He brought it. Yeah, he just brought it in. Yes, absolutely.
Is that how you do it?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. There you go.
He was doing you down.
You down.
KenPom just breaking out a you down on the middle of a Tuesday night. What a scene that was.
I know.
Hey, who had Reed Sheppard being Zach Edey's biggest challenger to National Player of the Year? Because that's where we're at.
GP, that's not an exaggeration. The power rankings right now really might be Edey 1 and Reed Sheppard 2.
We talk about this every offseason. It's my favorite thing about the sport is that I don't want to say no other sport, because I remember I didn't know who Jameis Winston was, and then he was the leading candidate to win the Heisman Trophy after one game. So I guess it's not unique to this sport entirely, but it happens in this sport every single year. We can spend 7 months discussing what we think is going to be the biggest stories in the sport once the season gets started, and then it's just something else. It's just always something else. And we didn't say a word about Reed Sheppard the entire offseason, except for maybe, I don't really know why, other than his father played there. What are you doing? You're ranked 79th in your class, according to 24/7 Sports. And I know that's slower than most, but whatever.
No, just stop bringing it up. Kentucky fans.
I should just stop bringing it up. I should be a good company man and stop mentioning that.
Yep.
Hey, can't we go in?
Who did this?
I mean, no, I'm not getting into that because that's just that's just it's just like people bringing up draft grades that I used to do. By the way, nobody's tweeted me about Jordan Poole in a year.
Well, how about Emmanuel Quickly?
I haven't heard a word about him
redemption
in a long time. People get real quiet after a while.
Yeah, but it's just immediate darling anymore. Those players, are they? Okay, there we go.
Jordan Poole is now the most embarrassing player in the NBA, and nobody tweets me about him ever. All right, so this is it could be like that. I have no interest in piling, whatever. It's a real thing that I don't know why we can't go in and change it. Can't we go in?
That's not how it works.
I just converted. I got an email that said I needed to convert to something to be able to do some other stuff. Did you convert yet?
I have converted, yes.
Okay, I converted too. I feel like that gives me the ability to go into 24/7 Sports, and I'm gonna jump Reed Sheppard into the top 15.
Let's not do that.
I think I'm going to. I'm going to do that later today. It'll just save a lot of us. It'd be helpful.
Okay.
It'd be helpful. He's terrific. He's
he knows ball. Yeah.
And our friend Sam Vicini, who will join us in just a bit.
Yes.
Did tweet, and Sam is, with all due respect, I don't want to pit my friends against each other. I'll just say Sam is one of the best NBA draft analysts that exist. He is, and I've told him this. He's the type of person where if my opinion is dramatically different than his, I will reevaluate my opinion on a prospect because I respect him.
Yeah,
I respect him that much.
Yeah.
And he tweeted last night that Reed Sheppard's a real one and done candidate. Like he just is. It doesn't matter what you thought he was coming into college. He has clearly established himself as that at this point. He was 8 of 13 from the field last night, 5 of 9 from 3, 21. And here's the other thing. It ain't just shooting. Like he's an unbelievable shooter, but he's not just a shooter. 21 points, great. That's the headline. 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals. That's great. He's now averaging 12.3 points, 3.9 rebounds, 3.6 steals in 24.7 minutes per game. He's shooting a team high 65.2% from the field, a team high 63.3% from 3. A 6'3 guard shooting 65% from the field is outrageous. He is only 6th in minutes played at Kentucky. That's got to change. I had somebody tweet me last night. Like, is Reed Sheppard going to be Tyler Ulis in the sense that if you remember that 2015, that Kentucky team, listen, they lost one game ever. So it's not fair to be like,
I agree.
They lost one game. All right. So when people say if John Calipari would have just played the right people, they lost one game ever. All right. But he did. I'll let you evaluate what I'm about to say. Willie Cauley-Stein was the leading, led the team in minutes per game at 25.9. Then it was Aaron Harrison, 25.8, Andrew Harrison, 25.5. And after that, you had Tyler Ulis, 23.8, Devin Booker, 21.5, Karl Anthony Towns, 21.1. There was a team at Kentucky that had Willie Cauley-Stein, Aaron Harrison, and Andrew Harrison playing more minutes than Devin Booker and Karl Anthony Towns, not to mention Tyler Ulis, who was the best point guard on that team. Is this going to be that? There was a suggestion made to me. I don't think so. I think it, and you know what? Nobody wants this, but honestly, the DJ Wagner ankle thing might be helpful here in the sense that it forces you to have to play Reed Sheppard more. When he's on the court, Kentucky is terrific. He's 6th on the team in minutes played right now. I think you could make an argument that he needs to be the leading minutes per game guy on that roster and that he might be soon.
He might be. I'm open to the possibility of that being the case. I'm also open to the possibility at this stage of the season, which isn't to say Sheppard would be the same a month from now, let alone, end of February, that he might be excelling specifically because of the role that he has in the minutes he's playing. I think both could be possible. But we might be about to find out if in a starting role playing north of, provided he's out there, playing north of 25 minutes per game, if he can go. Aaron Bradshaw, by the way, 5-star big man, is set to make his debut for Kentucky. And what a big addition that's going to be to Kentucky's front court. You would think that's set to happen in the next week. And so there's another dynamic in that, maybe that impacts rotations one way or the other. But Kentucky is 6-1. Looking every bit the top 10 team that it has been so far this season, and it's about to get another really, really good player on the floor. So keep that in mind as well. Sheppard has been a star in his role. He's not, again, I will reinforce this, particularly after Tuesday night, he was the man, but they are getting a lot in a lot of ways. And some of this is also Sheppard. It also helps, by the way, Kentucky right now, GP, is number 1 in the country in offensive turnover percentage, meaning the Wildcats are giving the ball away less often than any other team in the sport. It's last year it ranked 127. Right now it's number 1. It's only finished in the top 20 twice ever under Calipari. So not even asking this team to maintain that number 1 standing, but if it can be top 10 in offensive turnover percentage this season, you are looking at a team that it could be very well in the driver's seat to win the SEC because it's not going to have so many unnecessary mistakes. I thought Tuesday night was a major development for Kentucky. You didn't just beat Miami, you beat them down. Even when Miami led in the first half, great adjustments. Good job by Calipari. We're going to give him a lot of credit because he deserves it for what he's done so far. We'll see how he tinkers the minutes and the rotations and how much that's even needed. But the team is rolling right now. And yeah, Pomeroy, I'm going to give most of the credit here to Kentucky for what it did. I'm going to reserve chastising or indicting Miami after walking in and playing a really good team in a pretty tough environment.
He couldn't wait to hit update on that website last night, could he?
I don't think he actually has to push a button anymore. He used to have.
No, he does. He does.
I think it auto.
It's actually a lever. You have to pull a lever.
We call it auto populating, and I believe it does that. I got one more thing, by the way. How about this? How about Kentucky being so good? And I don't think this is the first time this has happened, honestly, but being so good to prompt Rick Pitino to tweet. He said, "I'm watching Reed Sheppard play and thinking about his mom and dad as if it were yesterday." Pitino, of course, coached Reed Sheppard's father, Jeff. Such a great experience for both of them. Absolutely wonderful people. Make it happen, Reed. One, I love Pitino tweeting about Kentucky. Two, this, of course, here's Calipari in the middle of, perhaps a mini Kentucky renaissance. This team is fun to watch for the first time in a long time. And if you check the replies, we've got, "It's finally time for you to come back, Coach. We miss you greatly." We've got one that says, "Love you, Ricky."
Oh, they didn't mean come back and coach. They meant just come back and be honored.
I don't know about that. We do have one in the replies. "Love you, Ricky P. Thank you for 96." And Katina Powell. That seems a little bit spicy there.
Oh, come on.
Another one. "Have that Ratchet L tattoo removed and come back and say hello sometime." So the distance making the heart grow fonder for the Kentucky fans as Cal's getting it done here. Patino tweeting about it. I couldn't help but chuckle seeing that pop up on the timeline and then scrolling through. It actually, and that's obviously not going to happen, but it's actually, I guess Louisville being atrocious and Pitino having his late career renaissance of his own has actually, like, for some Kentucky fans, I guess they were fine with Pitino always, but there was definitely, there was a schism, and now that being something that is getting patched up all the more. I don't know. I think it's a cool thing, and I couldn't help but notice him tweeting about that, and that's a really awesome thing. By the way, if you're unfamiliar, Jeff Sheppard was a baller. And another reason why I adored those Kentucky teams in the 90s.
Most outstanding player of a Final Four.
Yeah, he just really, really good player. And the fact that his son from London, Kentucky, has stepped in right away and been as good as he's been. Last thing, and then we can go wherever you want, GP. But the reason why we didn't talk about Reed so much is, number one recruiting class, and you had so many other dudes coming in, and like the Edwards hype, the Wagner hype, Bradshaw being this crucial big that they were going to bring in. Could he be the next really, really good Kentucky big? It was understandable for Reed Sheppard to just be, and he's in the class. He's not just in the class, man. He's been the most valuable player for that team through the first 3.5 weeks of the season.
Just one last thing, put a button on it. You pointed it out. They're just not turning the ball over. Listen, you don't have to be a basketball analyst to look at Kentucky's roster and go, that's one of the most talented, if not the most talented roster in the country. Multiple projected lottery picks, first-round picks, 5-star guys, all that stuff. It's there. The question is, like, can you be good at this level of basketball, relying on this many teenagers, relying on this many first-year players who just earlier this calendar year graduated from high school, and the idea that they're not looking like a young team. They don't look like a talented but young team. They look like a super talented, super athletic, super fast, really good basketball team. The poll question that Nada put up was, do you think Kentucky will now win the SEC? And I guess to that I would say, I don't know. We'll see. But for what it's worth, Kentucky is the highest ranked SEC team that I have in Wednesday morning's top 25 and 1, just ahead of Tennessee.